Many of us experience stress in our life, but sometimes some of us experience stress that can be overwhelming and can throw us off. When that happens, it affects not only certain parts of our body, such as our stomachs, our heart, but it also affects our brain. And I like to demonstrate you how stress and anger, which also produces stress, anxiety, and fear, affects that part of the brain. And then what you can do to be mindful of it and control it. So I'd like to show you. Imagine that this is your brain. This is the back part of your brain, your stem, and this is the front part of your brain. This part of the brain, let's call it the prefrontal cortex. That's what it is. And then underneath the prefrontal cortex is the amygdala. Now, the amygdala is the flight, fight part of your brain. That's the part of the brain that when you are in danger, whether it be someone calls out fire and then you run, or someone comes to attack you and you fight. So it's either flight or fight. And it's good to have that because when there's a real danger, we need that. However, the amygdala never knows whether it's a real danger or a perceived danger. And sometimes when we're under stress, the brain sees it as a perceived danger, and then the amygdala will react the same way as if it was a real danger. The prefrontal cortex is the logical part of the brain. The wisdom, the self-control, it helps us focus. It's wonderful. We all need it because we all need to be mindful of what's going on and aware and be logical and rational, as I said. So the prefrontal cortex helps the amygdala be in control. So when we're under a lot of stress and anger, which produces stress, the prefrontal cortex, if we're mindful of it, can help us be calm, relax, and think rational, which is what we need at the moment to be able to undertake whatever we experience. However, when we let the prefrontal cortex, the lid, as they say, the lid flip, then we are under control or hijacked by the amygdala. And that's not good because then the amygdala takes control and we cannot think or solve the situation. We don't have the resources at that time because the amygdala is taken over. The key is to be mindful of what's going on inside of us, what we're telling ourselves, because what we tell ourselves makes the stress and the anger worse, and use our prefrontal cortex. And that's the part that's going to help us in anything in life to handle the situation and think logically and use and exercise wisdom. So I encourage you, which is very effective, to use the prefrontal cortex. And this whole idea has come from Dr. Daniel Siegel's explanation of the brain.